our deepest values. Speaking today on All You Need Is Love, please welcome Reverend Tim Peterson.
Good morning.
The choir starts in the background, from the balcony.
Robin, thank you for being here today. Robin is probably my first member. And I remember when he first played at our center, I believe we both had different colored hair. I had a little bit more. This month our messages are about love. And in the past 30 years, I don't know how many times I've spoken about love. Last night I asked myself, what can I say about love that's going to be new? And maybe that's not the question that needs to be asked. Perhaps the question is, what are you open to hearing this week about love? In the 1960s, late 60s, early 70s, I fancied myself a bit of a hippie. I wasn't really. I was a kid from Alberta, not a kid in San Francisco. I never made it to Haight-Ashbury. I knew all about it. I never put flowers in anybody's hair and a gun barrel at a college. But in my head, man, I was there with them. And I had a song, and the song was All You Need Is Love. And I sang it like scripture. I sang it all the time. And I sang it like the whole problem with the world had finally been solved by 4 young men from Liverpool. And the rest of us just had to catch up. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought and I believed that love was it. Love's the answer. And I didn't need to do anything except accept it. I was so sure. And here's what I want to tell you this morning, 50 odd years later, with a few more miles on me. I was partly right, and I was deeply wrong. And it's the part I was wrong about that I want to talk to you about this morning. Love is like a $20 bill that you were sure you put away in a safe place. And when you go looking for it, you can't find it anywhere. You've searched your pockets, you've searched your drawers, you've searched your books that you put it in, and you just can't find it anywhere. It's gone. And the lesson, and that's the lesson about the missing 20, is the lesson of love. Love disappears if you try to keep it and save it for later. And it only stays alive when it's moving, when you give it. Make room for it. And then give it out again. Because it's all a thing about giving and receiving, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. It only stays alive when it's moving. The biggest thing I noticed about giving out love that I seldom noticed when somebody was trying to hand love back to me. Have you ever been to that point where you say, oh no, I'm fine, just you don't need to do anything, you're good. You don't have to show me your love, I know your love. And that's not the point of it. The point is showing love. That's what we need to do. That's what that essence within us does. We have to show it, or else we lose it. We lost it. We can't find it some days. And oftentimes I've been too distracted or too busy to receive it. And I feel bad about those times. Because there are people that actually love me.
No kidding.
No kidding.
A few of us.
And it's like, when we take it for granted, we can't take it for granted anymore. I can't take it for granted anymore. I've told you before about my speaking many years at the Ministers Conference in Monterey, California. And that was the first time I gave a talk in front of my peers, some heroes. And I remember laughing. It was just the funniest thing in the world when they introduced me in front of that stage because I'd never heard myself being introduced like that. And when they said, from Winnipeg, Manitoba, here's Reverend Tim Peterson, I just started laughing. I started giggling as I was walking out there. I mean, it was funny and terrifying to me. My talk that morning was All You Need Is Love. It was written that way in the program. And I believed that at that time, if you wrote something down, that was set in stone. You couldn't deviate from it. So my talk was going to be, all you need is love. I was heading out the door, going to the airport, when I said to Lyndon and my son Nathan something like, I love you, because all you need is love. I was so clever back then. And my son said, what about food? And what about a home? What about hospitals? And those questions almost killed my Asilomar talk. It had me second guessing everything that I was going to say about that day. I was kind of a wreck on Tuesday and wreck on Wednesday because my talk was on Thursday. And my whole talk changed for Thursday. I didn't want to change it, but I needed to change it because I just didn't believe what I was saying anymore because my son was right. There's more you need. Love alone doesn't feed anybody. Love alone doesn't put a roof over someone's head. Love alone doesn't run a hospital. The phrase, all you need is love, to me now is like saying thoughts and prayers. For me, all you need is love has become almost a bumper sticker. What was written on a t-shirt, to me became all bun and no meat. Because humanity talks a lot about love, but what I witness many times is anything but love. So I had to come back to my first question. What am I open to hearing this week about love? Why is that single spiritual tradition of love in every religion around the world, all the time? It's everywhere. People talk about it all the time. Love, 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 love. And underneath the bumper stickers, there's something that many of us, I think, have forgotten. But our soul, that part of us that knows who we really are, keeps tugging on our sleeves to remind us we are love. That's who you are. That's who I am. And that's the substance beneath the personality. It's the substance beneath the history, beneath the moods, the bank balance, the relationships, the resume, the diagnosis, and the regret. Underneath all of it, the actual material we're made of is love. It's not the feeling, it's the substance. And we, I think, as humanity, have forgotten that. Not all of us, but enough of us to keep wars alive and fear alive and anger and resentment alive. You ever heard that, alive, alive-o? That's what it reminded me of when I said that. We have forgotten we are made of love so completely that when someone says that I love you to us without any reason, many of us flinch. We don't know what to do with our hands. We get a little bit embarrassed. We say, I wonder what they meant by that. I wonder if we're supposed to say it back. I wonder if there's a catch. And somewhere along the way, I think the word love got tangled up with so many other things that we can barely use it in public anymore. It got tangled up with sex. It got tangled up with proof. If you really loved me, you would. It got tangled up with conditions. I'll love you if you do this, or if you do that. It got tangled up with debt. After all I've done for you. It got tangled up with our living until we got to the place where many grown adults cannot say I love you to a friend without making a joke afterwards to take the sting out of it. And there's no sting, except the sting we give it. So here we are, surrounded by love, made of love, and somehow starving for it still. The word love is the most powerful word we have. And I mean that literally. There's no other single word in the human language that carries as much energy as this one carries. The same word that builds a marriage can end it. The same word that heals a child can wound a child. The same word that gathers a community can be used to manipulate people who are lonely and tired and feel like they're out of options. Love has the power to heal, and love has the power of hell. And it depends on the mouth and the heart that it leaves from. When love leaves a mouth as a tool, if you love me, you'd do this. If you loved me, you wouldn't ask. If you loved me, you'd be different than you are. That's not love. That's leverage wearing love's clothes. When love leaves a mouth as a transaction, I'll give you this if you give me that. That's not love. That's a contract. If love leaves a mouth as a performance, said because it's expected, said because the silence just got too long, said because the other person said it first, that's not love either. It might be politeness, it might be habit. It might be a fear of what happens if you don't say it back. But it's not love. Love, an actual love, or love actually, leaves a mouth the way water leaves a spring. Because it has to. Because you can't help it. Because the source is full, and full things overflow. That's just what they do. Which brings us back to the $20 bill. The reason love disappears when we try and hoard it is the same reason a $20 bill disappears when you try and stuff it in a drawer and forget about it. Not because it's lost, but because it isn't moving. Money that doesn't move isn't money, it's paper. Love that doesn't move isn't love, it's an idea. If you're sitting on love this morning, and I think many of us are still, you're sitting on the most renewable resource in the universe, and some of us are letting it grow stale. You have love for a son or daughter or friend that you haven't called in a long time. You have love for a friend that you haven't forgotten. You have love for a neighbor that you haven't actually looked at in years. But they're there. And they're part of our humanity. They're part of that creation that we have expanded upon and created in this moment. You have love for yourself that you've not allowed yourself to feel since you were small enough to have a nightlight. And it's still all there. None of it's gone anywhere. And none of it is doing anybody any good because it isn't moving. Here's the thing about love. And this took me most of my life to understand. Life multiplies in the giving, and it withers in the keeping. I want to say that again. Love multiplies in the giving, and it withers in the keeping. You will never run out by giving away too much of it. You'll only run out trying to save it for later. Because a lot of times later never comes. So to a stranger, give it to a stranger. See them without judgment. Give it to your love partner in a sentence that you haven't said in 20 years. Give it to the person at the till who has had a day that you possibly can't imagine. Give it to yourself in the bathroom mirror, even if you feel ridiculous. Especially if you feel ridiculous. And this is the part that I missed for the longest time. And if you don't get anything out of today's talk and the next thing, please get this. Be willing to receive it too. Because someone is trying to hand you a 20 right now. And if you're too busy or too proud or too dependent or too sure you don't deserve it, you'll walk right past it. Don't walk past it. So let me come back to my son. He was right. Love alone doesn't put food on the table. But here's what I've learned over the years since he asked me that question. When a community remembers it's made of love, actually remembers, not as a slogan, but as a fact, food shows up on tables. Coats, scarves, and hats show up on shoulders and heads. Rides show up for persons who can't drive anymore. Casseroles show up on porches when someone is grieving. Phone calls happen. Volunteers volunteer. Donors donate. Hospitals get built, schools get funded, refugees are welcome. The neighbor with a broken fence gets a hand, not as a charity, not as a duty, not as a guilt, as overflow. Because that's what love does when it remembers what it is. It doesn't sit in a drawer. It moves. And when it moves through enough of us at once, the world gets fed. I'm not here saying that my love's going to change the world, but my love's going to change the world. And if my love changes one person, that's changing the world. And you know that saying, one person does this and one person does that and gives and gives and gives, then everybody does it. But what we've got to start doing is giving it. I've taught this for 30 years. I wonder how long I've lived it. Because I think we're brilliant at some point in our life. But I think at some point we have to come to that conclusion that is my life as good as I really want it or could have it? And if it isn't, then perhaps I need to do something a little different. Perhaps I need to go a little deeper. Understand that love is a little deeper. Understand that a 10-year-old can give you the wisdom that you need 30 years later. But you have to open your mind to it. You have to open your heart to it. You have to see it. So to my son's question about the food, about a home, about the hospitals, has an answer. And the answer is those are exactly the things that show up when we stop pretending that love is just a feeling and start letting it be what it actually is. An actual force, an actual substance, and the most practical thing in the universe. So here's what I want to leave you with this morning. You are here to remember who you really are, and then to be who you really are moving through this world. In whatever shape your particular life has, in a gift of hands, your words, your time, your money, your forgiveness, or your presence. You are the $20 bill the universe is trying to spend. Let it. Don't put yourself back in the drawer. This week I invite you to do 3 small things. And they're small on purpose because small things move love. And big things mostly make us tired. 1, tell one person you love them this week. And don't make it a joke afterwards to take the sting out. Just say it and mean it.
Only one?
And let the silence be. 2, I said there were small things. Let one person love you back. Receive a compliment without deflecting it. Take the help you would normally refuse. Let somebody buy the coffee. 3, forgive one person. for one thing. Not a big thing, a small thing. Start there. The big things will come. And just to be perfectly clear, that person can absolutely be yourself. That's it. 3 small movements of the bill out of the drawer. Because we are love, we've always been love. We forgot for a little while, and the only thing to do is now to remember. And keep on remembering together each week for as long as it takes. And so it is.